Julia Roberts' effortless chic, Meg Ryan's girl next door look, Jennifer Aniston's The Rachel. These rom-com icons defined how me and countless other young girls came to think of love, beauty, and the feminine identity. We've all seen the airport confessions, the handwritten love letters, and the dramatic New Year's Eve kisses. I learned from a very young age that if a boy teased you, that meant that he liked you, and that if you were smart enough, confident enough, independent enough, and most of all, pretty enough, then it all would fall into place in the final 5 minutes. But unfortunately, the stories that we see on screen don't always match our real life. So in order to truly understand the cultural impact of these beloved films, we need to put them in the context of modern feminism. In the 1990s and the early 2000s, feminism was undergoing a major shift. Early movements fought visibly and vocally for voting rights, workplace protections, and bodily autonomy. But on the rise was postfeminism. Postfeminism was built on the idea of combining anti-feminist ideas with feminist ideas to build a narrative that feminism was done. Women were equal, the battle was over. And this came with the rhetoric that you shouldn't push too hard. Don't question, don't challenge, don't disrupt the system, because you might not like what you find. Enter the romantic comedy. The white, heterosexual, middle-class couple fit perfectly into this predetermined system. And during this rise of post-feminism, we also see a boom in the number of romantic comedies, and this is no coincidence. A good case study of the relationship between post-feminism and rom-coms is Pretty Woman. Released in 1990, it stars Richard Gere and Julia Roberts as a wealthy businessman and a prostitute. The two come from very different worlds, and yet they fall in love. They have a happy fairy tale ending in which eventually Vivian gives up her prostitute life to pursue stability with Edward. And on the surface, Vivian seems revolutionary. She's bold, confident, unafraid to be herself. But if we look at the cinematography details, we notice something interesting. Many of the scenes are shot from over Edward's shoulder. We're looking at Vivian the way that he sees her. And this introduces a power dynamic between the observer and the observed. It introduces voyeurism and scopophilia, which is defined by Freud as pleasure derived from observing an erotic person, object, or scene. And this whole thing can seem feminist from afar, as Vivian matches the sex positivity of the second and third wave. But in reality, this is extremely anti-feminist, as it takes positivity and warps it into objectification. And by the end of the film, Vivian hasn't just fallen in love, but she's been refined. She's more polished, more mature. And this matches a larger cultural shift. Rather than the radical energy of earlier feminist movements, on the rise was post-feminism's focus on tradition, family values, and stability. And this is what post-feminism encourages us to do. Rather than trying to dismantle the structures that inhibit us, it encourages us to just find personal happiness within the structure. The system stays intact, the woman adapts, and we call it a happily ever after. And yet there's somehow another layer to this. These films were produced by a major corporation. This massive industry isn't trying to sell us products. It isn't trying to sell us stories. It's selling us products. And in order to maximize their profit margin at the box office, they're going to try and appeal to as many consumers as possible. This means avoiding anything too political, too radical, too uncomfortable. And so instead of trying to challenge the inequality, they're going to take the easier route. They're going to sell you the illusion that everything is already equal. Women have choices. You should be confident. Girls rule the world. And if you feel like something's missing, it's probably just that perfect relationship. Buy this Meg Ryan movie that'll show you exactly what you're missing. And that's corporate post-feminism in a nutshell. It's feminist language wrapped around a traditionalist structure to make it marketable, safe, and profitable. Because the media influences us most when we're not paying attention. The camera angle that makes her smaller, the plot line that prioritizes romance over a woman's autonomy. And these tiny details build belief systems. Because little me didn't learn from romantic comedies just about love and relationships. I learned about womanhood, about my own ambition, and about how much of my independence was acceptable before I needed to be softened. And that doesn't mean that we shouldn't enjoy rom-coms. I still love a good meet-cute. I still cry at the rainy confession at the end. Because once you understand the script, that means that you don't have to follow it. You can look at the script written for you by this major corporation and decide that that isn't what you want. You get to write your own. And this time, the camera looks where you choose. Thank you.